I want to bring in my buddy now. I want to bring in John Tantillo. John is, and you'll see the transition that I'm making here. John is a professor at Thoreau University, correct, John?
Yeah, that is correct.
Thoreau University. And John is a marketing guru. His most notable book is People Buy Brands, Not Companies. And John, this sounded like an odd transition to make to bring you in, but I said a couple times, that's America, and call us what the rest of the world may want to, some sort of capitalist look at me society. I like to think that we're a generous, compassionate bunch of people, and I think that's a big part of our brand as Americans. And I'm looking at Texas, and I'm, I think that we've saved the world. We've jumped in. I mean, we're trying to bring peace to the Middle East once and for all. We're trying to end the Ukraine war. I mean, I'd like to think that's part of our brand, right, John?
Oh, I couldn't say it better than you just said it, TJ, and I'm so glad to be here tonight to talk about not only the American brand, but also the New York City brand.
Yes.
And what we see going on with the city that I love.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and I was impressing upon the gang here in the first hour when I was talking about you coming on in this second hour, is that when you talk about marketing, you're talking about it's not sales, it's not business, it's people. Marketing, and you're a trained psychologist. People, and that's where your marketing genius comes from. Your branding awareness comes from your understanding of people. And so I think that's why you have that mantle that you do, is because you more than the average human being gets the human condition. And so this American brand, this brand of New York City, let me ask you this. Okay, here you go. Here's a starting point, right? We've got this America is the leader of the free world. We are that capitalist society. We are all about, hard work and rewarding hard work and lifting up people when they need it. And yet in places, somehow in New York City in particular, a guy like this Mamdani comes along who flashes a big smile, but is an anti-Semite. He harbors great ill will towards Jewish people and Israel. And he politically really is, for all intents and purposes, a proper communist. How is it that he thrives granted, New York is New York, but still it's America. How has this guy gained a foothold?
Well, when you talk about brands, it's very, very important to understand that all brands have what we call a target market. And what does that mean? It means people who are going to be most attracted to the brand. And if we take a look at who voted for this genius, it was folks, especially white folks, between the ages of 24 and 30 years of age. So this crowd, as you know, as we were once young, tend to be a little bit more on the edge politically and a little bit more liberal. And today, saying it that you are a socialist which is a politically correct way of saying that I'm a communist, is very, very attractive to young people. And with social media, add that on to the mix, you have somebody who, and by the way, say what you want, he is an attractive personality.
Yes.
He's young, he's vivacious, and I mean, he was talking about practical issues. I mean, who hasn't experienced, I don't know if you ever lived in New York City, but getting affordable rent.
Right.
I mean, he just resonated because he talked the issues and he articulates the messaging very, very well. And, young people are looking for new ideas. And who was he up against? Well, he was up against the establishment, Andrew Cuomo and Adams. And it was a array of candidates that really had no brands, or that the brands that they did have were not really perceived very, very well by the
sold very well. This is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack, and we're talking to the marketing doctor. We're talking to John Tantillo. You can find him at John Tantillo all over social media and themarketingdoctor.com. And 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. That's the number. If you want to join, we'll open up the line so that you guys can chime in. You know, John, where I was jumping off there was not really well represented. Andrew Cuomo, and I'm one of the people that said it's his if he wants it. It's his if he wants it. I thought, and unfortunately he was listening to me. That guy was, and this came really after. Nobody was talking about how lackadaisical his campaign was. But I tell you what, in the days since the primary ended, he's been getting crucified, Andrew Cuomo, for being lazy and complacent and not showing up and sort of waltzing in as if he thought he had it. And I'm kind of sitting there saying, well, I kind of thought he had it. He just didn't work for it. And you knew his dad very, very well. I would imagine that, his dad would be rolling over right now thinking about how his son just performed.
Well, I have to say that Andrew was the brains behind Mario's campaign. And I think what happened here with Andrew is that it was the same thing that happened a few years ago to a fellow by the name of Crowley, who was the district the district leader or the county leader, basically, of Queens, and
the one that lost to AOC, right?
That's right. And the reason, and by the way, this genius, I'm going to call him, or the communist, as I'm going to call him, only won by a very not a representative sample of the people who are registered Democrats in New York City. It was I think less than 10%. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't a large majority, which is the same thing that Crowley did. He underestimated the competition. And in politics, what you always have to do is play like you're behind, like you're losing.
Yes.
And I've seen it over and over again. If you are lazy, if you don't, and I'm not saying that he was lazy, Cuomo, I don't know how he ran the campaign, but what I will say is I'm not surprised that he underestimated, which is one of the basic tenets of running a campaign. You can't run as if you're winning. You know,
no, you have to run as if you're running from behind, and you have to run through the tape at the end of the race. You can't slow down. 1-800-848-9222 is the number if you want to talk to myself and the fabulous marketing doctor, John Tantillo. And so, you know, back to the bigger picture, America. And, you know, Trump is doing some, I mean, the guy just absolutely cannot slow down. If he wanted to, he couldn't slow down. Things are just cooking with gas all over the place. I mean, he made that joke about, you know, you're going to win so much, you're going to be tired of winning. This guy in the last few weeks has been, you know, okay, we'll take this past Thursday, for example. This past Thursday was a classic Trump day in the last 6 months, where in the morning, a jobs report was the first thing out of the gate, 147,000 new jobs added, outperformed by tens of thousands of jobs. And then, a little bit later, he was twisting arms and the Senate, or rather the House, finally, passed the big, beautiful bill. And then after that, while he was waiting for that thing to be formalized, he's on the phone at 10 a.m. with Vladimir Putin. And then a little bit later, so while he's on the phone with Putin, who's waiting in the waiting room outside the Oval Office, but a freed hostage from Israel who's a New Jersey resident. And then he ended that night in Iowa at the state fair, shaking hands and kissing babies and eating corn dogs with farmers. This guy wins and wins and wins and wins. And the rest of the world is just watching, half of them rooting against him and us. But he seems to be restoring a lot of confidence, put it this way. I'm a Trump guy for all these years, but I freely admit only this time around am I saying it out loud without any reservation. I'm not pulling any punches. I'm all in for Trump and what's happening in America. And anytime something wobbles, John Tantillo, I have faith that it's going to settle, like the tariffs thing. So what do you think that he's doing for the core strength of the American brand? Tell me what some of the core strengths are and how he's reinforcing them.
Well, he is the greatest marketing politician who has ever entered the White House. I mean, he gets what we call in marketing promotion. Mm. Everything he touches is promotion. Sometimes Trump supporters get a little bit uncomfortable, but he has a flair for knowing what the American working person likes. He is really one of our first blue-collar presidents. Mm. And, I mean, he really understands the working person, whether or not they be black, whether or not they be Latino, whether or not they're white. He brings people together because there's an authenticity. And what's important about branding, no matter what, you have to be authentic so that there's a connection. And people who are, I would say, what I call, if you read my writings and you look at my work, I call them Kias. Know it all. Kias. They killed in action? No. Kia are know-it-alls.
Right.
And, the people that talk with clenched teeth, that they just know everything. Another word for this crowd are the elites.
Yeah.
So, and what Trump has been able to do is change the discussion and change the rules of engagement, which drives Washington and those kids or those elitists crazy. Why? I mean, he's not doing it the way it's supposed to be done.
And it's funny. It seems like, well, first of all, it's funny when and we're again another side of midnight with TJ McCormack. We're talking to the marketing Dr. John Tantillo. His book, People Buy Brands, Not Companies, and his writings. He mentioned, he's a Newsmax contributor. You find him on Newsmax. He's a regular on that network. And, forever and ever, John Tantillo, I gotta wonder, because I know you were in and throughout the entire campaign of 2024, you were so steadfast that he was going to win and win big. I mean, it was almost as if you knew something. What was it? It had to be. Was it the whole, for a branding man, for a marketing man, MAGA has to be right up there with, Coke and a smile. I know that's advertising, but I mean for the brand of Coca-Cola, MAGA has got to be on the Mount Rushmore of marketing. I mean, it is. It certainly is, right?
Sure. No question about it. But one thing I would like to add.
Yes.
Not only did Trump win by his marketing, he did what I identified in a piece that I did for Newsmax, and the term I used was political intelligence, which was getting your vote out and having an army of lawyers to push back on the Democratic geniuses who were going to say or object to voting irregular procedures.
Which he didn't do which he didn't do in his first reelection in 20.
That's correct.
Right.
And you see, Trump is a different kind of businessman. He's an entrepreneur. He is not a corporate type that Romney was. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, entrepreneurs, the thing that you learn by being an entrepreneur is you don't make the same mistake twice. You learn from your mistakes. So what you see now is a new and improved Trump, as evidenced by his cabinet picks. Mm-hmm. Remember all the problems he had with the cabinet, getting them, because they weren't insiders.
Well, and not only that, you can tell his entire demeanor, his entire just the temperate mode that he stays in. He doesn't go off on the tangents. I mean, look, he's always going to go off script, but he doesn't go off forever and ever, and he doesn't wander intellectually. He stays on message, and everything is competent and earnest. And, and the other thing too is he, especially when it comes to the war and peace side of things, when it comes to Ukraine and Israel, he does not like people dying. You know what I mean? Like, he's got an aversion, which is a wonderful thing in a world leader. But he really does not like that, because what's he say every single time? The subject of the war comes up. He says, we have to stop. Too many young people are dying. And he gives the numbers, and he talks last week, so-and-so thousands died. He goes, they got to stop. So it's an organic, genuine, so that tells me that he really does want people to prosper. He really does want, America to be great again. I think he really means it. And I think his comfort level with his own, perspective, with his ideology, I think has led him to just settle into his message and have confidence in it.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's very, very well said. And he has, just to add to what you've said, he has the common man touch. And that's because the business that he worked in, which is construction.
Yeah.
So he had to be able to relate to those guys, as opposed to being. I don't know if our audience remembers Sergeant Shriver.
Oh, sure.
When he was running, that was John F. Kennedy's brother-in-law. Well, the story is that he goes to a working class bar, and he has all these. He's running for president of the United States, so he goes into the bar, and they said, "Well, what would you like there, Shriver?" And he says, "Give me a glass of sherry." And I mean, all the guys in the bar are drinking beer.
Sure.
And he wants a sherry. I mean, if that doesn't really screw everything up, Trump would never do that.
No, in fact, look what he did. He went to McDonald's. That McDonald's move.
McDonald's.
John, that was the move. That was the move. That was it. That was where I remember turning to Andrea. You know my wife. I turned to Andrea. I said, "Game over." As he just won.
Right. And the idea that he drove the garbage truck.
Yep.
I mean, he really understands the working person.
And he takes, and his instincts are insane, because you just reminded me. He got into that garbage truck after people referred to his voters as garbage.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
He didn't push back and say, "My people aren't garbage." He got in a truck and said, "This is what they think of you. This is what they think of you." And a big, beautiful, white, pristine garbage truck with the word Trump on it. Maron.
And don't forget the outfit that he wore.
Yep.
He wore the vest.
He wore the vest. It was magic.
I mean, it just was. I can't say enough about this guy. And when he first got in, when I was writing for the Washington Times, I said the guy's never going to win, because he's making all these statements that are just not. I mean, he even criticized the Pope. If you remember,
right.
I mean, it was incredible. And then I began to see the change, and I began to see that this guy really has the common man's touch, which drives the kids, the know-it-alls, and the elites wild.
Knocks them off their game. It's 3:31. We're at the bottom of the hour. I got to take a quick break. Everybody, it's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormack. We're talking to the one and only marketing doctor, our buddy John Tantillo. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-WABC is the phone number. John, stay right there. Gang, hang in there. Oh, we're going to talk to Fred when we come back. Everybody stay right there. It's Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack on 77 WABC.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
The doctor of marketing, the marketing doctor, John Tantillo, is my guest. He's my buddy. He's my pal. He knows where all the best bakeries are all across the land. He knows they're all in Queens. And so John is here, with me on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack here on 77 WABC. We're talking about all things America, all things Trump, all things New York. We're talking about the psychology of the people. And so we're basically kind of looking at politics and life through the lens of marketing and branding, because everybody's got a brand, everybody's got a marketing angle. It's life. It's what you do in life. You walk into a room and and it is what it is. And nobody knows that or the human condition better than John Tantillo. So John, welcome back.
Well, it's I'm so happy to be here tonight with you and sharing our thoughts regarding all things political as well as all things human.
Yeah. Because one feeds the other, you know. And so now joining us on line 2 from Brooklyn is Frederick. Frederick, good morning. You're on with myself and John Tantillo on 77 WABC.
Yes, good morning, radio host. This is Frederick from Brooklyn.
Hello, Frederick.
My concern, I'm curious to know concerning President Trump overall peace effort. What's going on with that mineral deal he was supposed to push forward or establish with the Ukraine president in his attempt to attain peace? What's going on with that mineral deal?
That's a good point, Frederick. You know, I really haven't heard much about that actually in some time. Maybe because we're waiting for he and Zelensky to get back together around the table. John, you know, it's interesting how there are so many balls in the air, so many plates spinning, like that guy on the Ed Sullivan show. You know, Trump is constantly spinning plates at such a high level. Here's Frederick talking about the rare earth deal, the mineral deal. I totally forgot about that. I've been looking at Israel and Iran and, but maybe that's also part of the genius that is Trump. Keep enough plates spinning and it's always, you know, and it means you're always working. And that's, you know, if you keep working, keep your feet moving, you're going to keep winning.
Yeah. Well, I think to build on what you've just said, I think timing is everything in life. And I think the time is not right to talk about minerals when Putin is in full drive. And I mean, you know,
it's a great point.
He has his foot on the gas, and there's just nothing else to talk about. And you know, I really think that there was a misstep by the Ukrainians with that meeting in the White House that they blame on Trump. But you know, he was being egged on by the Europeans, who said you can get more from Trump, and that's what I believe happened, and why there's no talk of minerals. So that's a very, very astute perspective from our caller.
Yeah, Frederick, thank you so much for that note and for reminding me about the mineral deal. But yeah, John, you're right. Putin's going full blast. He's bombing every night. There are bombing raids over civilian areas. So it seems like, you know, at least for the moment, the conversation about the deal is off the table. Let's see. Joaquin in Pennsylvania wants to talk about Trump and Cuomo. Good morning, Joaquin. Welcome to the show. Welcome back, and talk to John Tantillo.
Sure. Good morning, TJ. Good morning, John. You know, the first thing is I'm actually surprised, TJ, as learned as you seem to be, that you would think that Cuomo could have even had a chance. I mean, his track record as being a COVID tyrant, and also a lot of his anti-policing policies.
Absolutely.
You know,
no, I took all that into account. I just had so little. Look, the fact that he got any votes. I mean, the guy, you know, everything from his sexual harassment to what he did to all the seniors that he caused to die. I mean, honestly, I never thought that when I said that it was his to lose, I didn't like it. I just, you know, I mean, and if it wasn't for Mamdani, frankly, I mean, he would have wiped the floor with all the other also-rans.
You know what? I'd rather take a contrite Adams, because the way he's been talking lately, you know, at least he's admitting to a lot of his mistakes and whatever else, not maybe enough. But, you know, he definitely sounds like he's on the right track.
Oh, John, what do you think about that, John? You know, it's interesting. We've got a guy in Adams, the incumbent mayor, who is a bit of my wife would call him a Flash Harry. That's what somebody like him with his suits and his lapels and his demeanor and his working out and all that. He's a braggadocious guy. And to Joaquin's point, he's definitely been quite contrite and a bit humbled by his close call with so much litigation. What do you think about him sort of tempering down that brand of his and trying to be more of, say, a man of the people? Maybe he's trying to be more like the cop, act more like the cop that he used to be.
I can't see the ethnics, brown, black, and Hispanic, going for the communists. I just can't. I think the natural migration is to Adams, and I think that's what Adams' appeal is. I mean, Ed Koch used to say that in New York City politics, it's all about the ethnic vote. And the different constituencies within the New York City proper. So I would say for that, even though I did see a poll that the communist is beating Adams, that's with Cuomo still in. Whether or not Cuomo is out is another. Who knows what he's going to do? I will say that Cuomo. Don't underestimate Cuomo. He is a very astute political type, and there must be something in the polls that are keeping him in the race. And what I mean by polls, these are the campaign polls, not the polls that are out there just to form opinions.
Right. If you see a poll, a public poll, there is a reason for that poll and the reason that it's published. Yeah. And you can tell their Oppo research is working. I mean, it was a day or two after it's a few days after the primary, and bam, here comes the news about his application to Columbia. I'm sure Cuomo's wondering where the hell was that during the primary campaign.
Right. I mean, it's still fluid. There's still time. And remember that, Adams can pull this out if he gets what I call political intelligence. He really does get the votes out. And that's what's really very, very important to do. And
that's also, and thank you, Joaquin. That's what Mamdani has in spades. He's got literally hundreds and hundreds of boots on the ground. He's got a hell of a ground game. John, you worked in the Koch administration. There's some great photos of you that I've seen over the years in proximity of the mayor. You were involved in some really heady times here in New York City in politics, working for Ed Koch. And so that all of this talk, all of this stuff is fluff when it compares to and erroneous when you compare it to the value of the retail door knocking, the threshold, the campaign that you run at the threshold of the house, the apartment, the church, the synagogue. It's 3:46. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk to David and Steve, who are going to have a couple of words with myself and my buddy John Tantillo here. It is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack on 77 WABC.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. absolutely the gold standard. And it's so cool to be here with you guys. And joining us is the marketing doctor, John Tantillo, a Newsmax contributor, a professor at Touro University, and the author of People Buy Brands, Not Companies. And he's so right. And we are joined now. Welcome back, John. And we are joined by Steve in Manhattan. Good morning, Steve. Steve, get back to the phone.
Gentlemen. I thought I was batting second after the commercial. I went to the fridge.
You're good.
Gentlemen, TJ,
yes.
Awesome show, man.
Oh, wow, thank
you. John, welcome aboard. I could pick apart any argument, but the thing is, what's happening in New York City politics, and nobody will bring it up, is the 65 Immigration Act. You got over 1 million Muslims. They're gonna vote for I call him Bambi, moron. They're gonna vote for this guy because he's a Muslim. The people are afraid to say it. You think they're all college radicals? He got 400,000 votes in the primary. That's more votes than Curtis got in the general election last time.
It is
and
huge.
You combine that with that clown Ladner, 100,000 that'll go to Madami. That's 500,000 votes in his back pocket already.
Oof.
Curtis could still win this thing. But I would tell people, with Cuomo looks like crime dog, doesn't he? But he's anti-crime dog. But nobody will tell you. I was bringing it up back in 2019. They were throwing me off the air about the no bail thing. I was telling them who was doing it: Cousins' staff and Hastings' staff is the speaker in the New York State Assembly.
Yeah, and Andrea Stewart Cousins is the majority leader in the Senate. Yeah.
Cuomo never brought this up. They put it on his desk and they tell him, you sign this or you're going to get primaried. And then he did. That was after 8 years of him. Governor Murphy in New Jersey is a Xerox copy of Cuomo. He put the people in the nursing homes with the COVID virus that was sent here by the communist Chinese serial killers. Just like Putin. Putin is a serial killer. Don't try to talk politics with this guy. He's a serial killer. He doesn't care about body counts. He care about your 18-year-olds lying in a field dead on a battlefield. He doesn't care about Russians dying in a battlefield. This guy's a serial killer. And people forget in 2020, Trump basically abandoned the illegal immigration thing during the campaign. Mm-hmm. You remember what he brought up in September? I said this guy he's giving the race away. He brought up the Platinum Plan,
right?
For business zones in African American neighborhoods. That was their own words. That was his staff putting that on his plate and him putting that out there. No, he could have been standing there like George Washington in 2020, and I said it during that year when the Chinese sent the virus over here. You ever notice people keep mentioning Pelosi's name and Fauci's name? Those people who keep doing that are useful idiots. Just like people keep saying, come here legally. You're a useful idiot. The people now who are siding with Adams, who I heard for years on this station, who were against Adams, now they're saying he's okay.
Yeah,
you are a useful idiot.
Desperate times, desperate measures, right? Thanks for calling, as always, Steve. And let's get over to David. David in Pennsylvania, good morning. We're going to wrap up this hour with you. Okay. Say hi to John Tantillo, the marketing doctor.
Hi, John. Good show. TJ also. Family, hello.
Yes.
It's my brother's birthday today, Sunday, the 6th of July. He's 72, been through a lot, is a good sports writer in the Pittsburgh area for high school sports.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm talking high school and below. Below those levels of education or non-education. What about Trump with his love of people and not wanting to see them die? With the efforts of the mayors of major cities who's ever elected in New York, the communist or Cuomo or whoever gets elected, and Los Angeles and Chicago, why can't we do something about child human trafficking, which is psychological murder, which Trump disapproves of? It is psychological murder of children, child sexual and job employment.
Let me ask John about that. John, and thank you, David. Thanks for calling, John. Maybe we can take that a little bit more writ large. it's interesting how some of those platform things, some of those planks in the platform, go to the wayside. I mean, everyone can agree that, the whole notion of human trafficking, let alone child, human trafficking of children, is sometimes I think people just get overwhelmed with the enormity of the issue. But in the last few years, it's really gained traction. It started off, I think, with some sort of conspiracy theories about about these wealthy, powerful people being provided children for whatever. But I don't know. It's kind of difficult to formulate the question, but some things you wonder why do some of the most obvious ills continue to flourish? I don't know. I don't quite even know what I'm asking, but I guess it is kind of amazing that human trafficking still happens in this day and age. I wonder why lawmakers are afraid to really just tackle it and get a grip on it.
Yeah, well, I think the border made this trafficking issue front news, or at least for us to have an intelligent discussion about it, as opposed to it being in as conspiracy theory and theories. So that's the way I kind of look at it. If there's any sort of benefit that the border crisis has done, is it made this human trafficking an important issue because of the border.
Yeah, no, you're right. It certainly brought, and you know what really got me was with that Abrego Garcia guy, the one who, went to El Salvador, and now he's back for his day in court. There was a fascinating body cam image, video of one of the traffic stops that was made by some cops, I think in Missouri. They had him on body cam with literally an SUV full of people that he claimed to be his family. None of them had ID. There was a woman in the front seat who was just didn't know what to do. And the cop, there was two cops at the traffic stop. And one cop says to the other cop, he says, "You understand what's going on here, right?" He goes, "He's trafficking these people." He goes, he's traveling right through Missouri. And I mean, that was really interesting to watch this matter-of-fact conversation between the two police officers, with one guy saying, "Look, this is what it is." And he went on his way. They let him go. John Tantillo, just like the last time, this flew by. It's ridiculous. But listen, man, you made the show better. It's always good to tap into all of your knowledge and wisdom. Everyone, you go to @John Tantillo on X and throughout social media. And he's also, you also find him at themarketingdoctor.com. You find his work on Newsmax and at newsmax.com. And his book is People Buy Brands, Not Companies. John, you're the best, and I love you, and I'm grateful for your time.
Okay, and I like just to say something before we end.
Yes.
And that is, I'm so proud that the President of the United States mentioned you in a tweet, and Newsmax has an article about the shout-out that our President gave you, and it only goes to show what kind of a brand you are, Mr. McCormack, Mr. TJ, and I am so proud and so happy to be a friend of yours.
Oh, thank you. You're nice, and thank you for mentioning that, because you know that I'm not gonna bring it up enough. So I'm grateful that you did that, buddy. And Andrea sends her love. So do the girls. So does my mom and dad. Everybody, John Tantillo will be back again very, very soon. This is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack here on 77 WABC. It's at the top of the hour. We come back. We have more fun. Fred Rubino in the next hour, all the way to Lizzie Radabali and the 5 a.m. newscast. Stay right there, gang.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC.